I think that most of the stuff that we thought was good discussing today, just before like we go back to having presentations and so on, mostly is just like stuff that was scattered between the last couple of meetings last year. So like we came up with some ideas for restructuring a bit the group. There were some ideas of possible projects we could do this year, but I think some of it was discussed in a meeting with few people. Some of it was posted on like a message on WhatsApp. So probably would be good to have like a recorded meeting where we actually address all of it at once and settle some stuff. It would be good if I must have this here now. I'm not sure how we should go about this. I mean, we're probably not going to have everyone, so probably we need to think of a way of making these decisions. If we again take them back to WhatsApp, or if we just stick with them, and if somebody has a problem, then we revise them. I think it's also a good way to go about it, so we don't need to, you know, constantly go back and wait to make some
yeah
decisions.
Maybe along those lines. I know this is something we started to slowly think about and set up, but maybe like trying to migrate over to the Zulip also from WhatsApp, like slowly.
Yeah,
could be a thing, especially while inviting people, because I've had more people show interest, and as WhatsApp gets big, things get lost very, very quickly.
Yeah,
so
exactly, I totally agree.
That could be something to try to start relatively soon, and then so we can open it up to more people and then just kind of post everything there, but it's like at least organized to a degree. So like some outside discussions can also.
We have a Zulip group, don't we?
Yeah, just to actually like start, you know, using it, moving from the WhatsApp to that, inviting people to it, things like that.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, in my opinion, this is most of what we should kind of focus on deciding now has to do with this issue of there's a good chance that the group either will remain with the number of people who were active by the end of the year, which is already a bit more people than we had like 6 months ago when the Sum Journal thing appeared. We got like 12 people constantly in the meeting. So if we actually have from 12 up to 15, 20 people involved, I think that like having a only linear chat like the WhatsApp thing or some other issues might start appearing just as the group grows, right? So I think that some decisions would have to be made on how to deal with that.
What's I was curious, just I'm not familiar with Zulip. What's the difference and like advantages to like Discord and what's the other one named? Slack?
It's basically the same. It has like I think the one reason we chose it is the category theory, like the big one is on Zulip blog. That like all the category theory people are on, and it has, I mean, maybe this isn't so useful for us directly, but it has like built-in like GitHub connections and things like that.
Yeah, also the way it's formatted is there's like these streams and topics, so it's very parallel, more so than even like a regular chat, because you can actually have like conversations about a certain topic and just leave that in its own kind of link, so that we could always return back to that topic later. Or even in a chat room with different channels, it'll float to the top and you'll lose it.
Yeah, I think that Discord and Zulip are a bit more natural for debate, where Slack is a bit more project-based. Like it works better if you have like a specific project or something you're managing. I think, I mean, I don't really care which of them we choose, but I do think that choosing another platform other than WhatsApp, making sure everyone is there and we help everyone to kind of sign in. You can download like an app on your phone, so it's easy to get a notification if you want. So it's not like you're gonna get you know, you're gonna lag behind if you're not tech savvy. We can help each other out to kind of make sure everyone knows how to use it. I think it's these platforms are pretty kind of easy to work with, but again, I think it's not hard for us to help each other out with this. So Rafa, you still can't, did you join there, or do you need us to send you an invitation?
Yeah, I just need an email.
Okay.
Somebody, I mean, if somebody wants access, just send me the email.
So while we're doing that, I'm just do something here. I just wrote up a list of everything we discussed. Like I went back to our WhatsApp conversation since last year.
Mhm.
I just organized all the points that we kind of wanted to settle, just so we can go over them and have it recorded for others to kind of catch up. And then I added a proposal at the end, which is a bit more far-fetched, which is something that Dennis and I were discussing, and then I spoke with Renzo today about it, who made me feel very insecure about it, but I think it's worth sharing just so we have, I think it addresses real problems. It might not be the good solution, but just so start talking about these things. I think just, yeah, so this is the Zulip thing. I think everyone can see it, right? So you just have the streams here for different things. The idea is to have also like something that it's easy to get to learn how to use, like the website, or to learn the basic rules of how we're functioning for newcomers, things like this. And then the other streams are just, let's say, very large topics of discussion, and you can inside of them create smaller, like this is the genus, then you can have the species of the conversation here. It can be different ones. So it helps to organize these different debates, and then you can move them around if that's the case. So hopefully it helps us to keep track of all the different discussions that we're having, right? And also people who come in afterwards, once they're kind of added here, it's easier for them to catch up, right? They can just search through the discussions and find out what stuff they're interested in, and so create a new stream for more dedicated to a research point they're interested. So I just created this thing here just to help us kind of go through the topics that we already mentioned on WhatsApp. Let's just do something. Yeah, anyway, can you guys read this? Does this work? Yeah, so it's,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think these are the main ideas that I found on our WhatsApp that we were planning to apply to the group, right? I think that the main, some of them are like directions we want to take. It's hard to, it's possible that simply doesn't happen, but some of them are a bit more like a protocol, right? Like the first one, which I think it's something, I don't remember who was the first to suggest it, but just this idea that since we mentioned that we were a bit worried that we wouldn't facilitate for newcomers to be better integrated, for us to actually, you know, learn about what other people are interested in, and take that into account when other people come up with presentations. So a good way to solve this would be to attach people like coming into the group with doing like a 20-minute presentation on something they're working on, just so everyone can get to know you a bit. And I guess like facilitate that from then on, we can make easier connections with new researchers, research directions, and also hopefully ease people into the group a bit more, rather than just get that feeling that you're in a weird WhatsApp group and lagging behind on something others are doing, perhaps. So So this was one idea I think was suggested. I'm not sure how you guys like feel about it in 2022, if you still feel about it as you did last year, but what do you guys think? Should we establish this? How should we do it if we go ahead with it?
Yeah, I had a question, like, should this only apply to newcomers or should it also apply to everyone? Maybe everyone, because then that would allow us all to get to know each other, you know, not just the newcomer, because then if it's only newcomers, then it's a one-way thing, right? Like the newcomers will let us know what they're doing, but
Yeah, I mean,
what about old members?
yeah, but
Maybe
Yeah,
we could,
sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead, Rafael.
maybe we could split the presentation, have one newcomer and one person who's already in the group, so that way we can get both sides. I don't know.
Yeah, I was.
How many people were we thinking per presentation?
I don't know. I think
I mean,
it's
it's
20 minutes long.
20
Like you could have two people plus time to talk about it, right? Not much more
Yeah.
than that. But I mean, I think that it's
Yeah.
kind of a false question, because even if we do have like a nice cycle where everyone presents, that doesn't mean that every time somebody joins the group, everyone is presenting again, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's true. yeah.
So in time, this proposal will be established anyway, like new people present because everyone else already presented anyway, right? So, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
all-
one way to do that is for everybody who feels like it, like the older members, to just record a video for 20 minutes and post it on what they do. And then we keep it, and everybody who's coming can refer to that video for the older members. And then
Mhm.
we go with number one with all the new members.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
think
really
Efren
like
said-
that.
Mhm.
Apologies. Yeah, I like that because exactly what Efren said about keeping them private. And I think that there is something that we spoke about. I'm not sure if I just like imagined this through the WhatsApp conversation or if it was actually something that was there, but like that not all the presentation, like the newcomers presentations was like a sort of a special periodic session that we made. There was something like, okay, every 2 months we do like these sessions in which the newcomers present, but then we would also have like bigger presentations on like other topics. So for instance, like, I don't know, someone has something that they want to present for a whole meeting, then they can schedule that in the planning. Because I think that there is a difference between like the way these two work, because also on the second, if it's someone like, okay, I want to do a presentation, like a full presentation that might be discussed into something big, I think it's even better if we do like in groups, right? So for example, like I think what we discussed about the case study thing, that was like a couple of people are interested in that kind of methodology, and then like in a certain given amount of meetings, those people like as a group present something. Of course, they manage the work internally. It might be the case that like someone else has to like do the biggest part of the presentation or like to articulate everything, but then like it becomes something like those bigger presentations become something for the group, and the smaller ones become something periodic as people join us. Like, but with the recording idea, there would be not necessarily like a need for like these periodic presentations, so it would be a little bit different. But I think it also works like that, like
So
saying
like,
that there are.
So the idea is that we would like record these presentations privately. Everyone does it on their own, and then post directly on Zulip and not on YouTube. Is that it?
Yeah, and then we would meet and discuss like the presentations of those people, but not like meet and everybody present, just like watch and then talk about like what we found of each other's work and this type of stuff. Like from the people that join, because I think that this, I don't know, I think it has a nice ring to it that like someone sees your presentation, thinks that's really cool, and then like privately messages you or even like puts you into something inside the group, like says, okay, this is just the thing that like we were talking about this on a conversation on Mo Day, for instance, on Zulip. I think it directs people really well. Like if we, and it also archives better than just like having one meeting with like all the presentations together that will be recorded, and like it's more formal, I think. And that way it might push people back, because like some people might be a little bit intimidated of like recording 20 minutes of themselves, but I think it's also fine. Like it's something like it's viable.
Yeah, I think it depends because one thing that makes it easier is that you're actually presenting to people rather than just to nobody. So it can at least be a conversation sometimes, even though it might be like, right, it's not like completely balanced. It's not like it's just a dialogue the whole time, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if people would do it is the main thing. If it was like asynchronous like that.
Yeah, I've recorded myself talking alone. It's terrible. Like, I really don't recommend it.
Yeah, it has and it usually takes far more time than preparing
more
for a public
time.
presentation
Yeah, I
because
mean-
like you start
Uh-huh.
watching it and getting crazy about it.
Yeah, I think we
think
can
it's
just
a little bit-
combine. I mean, if you guys think that not like that, I mean, it seems to me that the big motivation here is to make it easier for people to let others know about the research. If you guys think that it being
Mhm.
private is a useful aspect to make it more, to make it easy. So I think we, exactly as Efren just said, like, just combine the two things. We meet on a specific moment, like we can, it's not hard to like press record and stop so that the two presentations that happen in one meeting, they're separate files. Then rather than going on YouTube, they go to Zulip. So like, and we keep open presentations, like open on YouTube and stuff, only the ones that are the regular meetings, something like that, right? Does that make sense?
So you mean like just leaving whatever you feel comfortable with, like you can do, and then we have those like sort of periodic meetings in which like this happens, but not, you don't necessarily have to be there. You can just like record yourself as long as people know about your research.
No, idea is like we have a like Monday meeting, 2 people just arrived, so next meeting we're gonna use it to learn about their research. They come, they present, we record, but rather than upload it to YouTube, they did a presentation with an audience that goes to Zulip. So if not making it totally public is something that makes it easier to present, they still get that, but they also get an audience, so they don't need to speak like to no one.
Oh, I understand now. Yeah, that's perfect, I think.
Yeah, the only thing that I suggested to do a private video was obviously we have 12 people, that is 20 minutes that we have to for the existing members, and then obviously having an audience would be a lot better. It's just the logistics that I was thinking about. But if we can afford the time, then I prefer participants too.
But Reza, were you thinking all of them in the same day?
Not necessarily. I mean, everybody can do it on his own time, and then upload that video. And for new members, they come and present it. They come present to all of us. But for the new members to know more about what we have done individually or what our research interest is, then they can go to this Zulip URL and then watch those videos.
Oh,
Maybe we could just, I mean, I think that's what I was thinking. Maybe since there are a lot of old members, we could just like have some sort of schedule. Not everybody has to do it in the same week, in the same meeting. So
Yeah, obviously, if we think that even for the existing members to present their work, we need to meet, all of us to meet, and then make it an interactive kind of thing, then by all means, I'm all for it. It's just a matter of logistics, and 20 minutes for some of the work and having a conversation about it would be a little bit tight as well. So it's just a matter of logistics, the reason I suggested that.
because it's 2 different problems, right? One is people coming in and sort of mapping out the interests of the people who participate. So I think just having like a small bio written down, it's a faster way to do that. Like both, like the person doesn't have to watch like 20-minute videos of every participant to have an idea of who the group is. So that's one thing. And then the other problem is we sort of like hearing the person talk about his stuff, so that we, as we had talked, like make this work of connecting their work with the whole thing. So it's I think it's two different.
Yeah, I agree. I think one thing is like a calling card, like a small biography saying where you're coming from. Another thing is giving material for us to try to knit together different researches. I think they're not really the same thing. Honestly, I think that like something like a greeting card, like this is me, I think it can just be a written down thing and people just say, I like this, I like that. I think we should only need this sort of, that's why I don't think everybody needs to do it. Like we can just have, like, if you want to have a place where everybody who's participating says something about themselves, we can do this in writing, like I'm interested in this and that. It's enough to get a feel for it, right? But if you actually want to see, okay, this part of their research overlaps with a part of that other thing and so on, I think then you need, in that case, you need a presentation. And then I think in that case, what we're actually discussing is just the compulsion for new people to at least try a bit of that. Like, I don't think it needs to be for everyone because a lot of people are already presenting anyway, right? So it's just to make sure that, for example, my suggestion would be that for people who haven't presented anything yet, plus people who are joining in the future, it's a smaller group, and it was just enough to give us the opportunity to connect stuff with what they're doing, because by definition we didn't have that chance yet, right? So I'm not sure if we need everyone or to treat it as a sort of general introduction to the person, which could be done in writing, I guess.
You can even like link in your small bio, like the presentations you did, like the ones a small sample of what.
Yeah, I think so too. So just to make sure, like at least there's an agreement that these shouldn't be public videos. They should be stored in Zulip rather than YouTube, right?
Yeah, either way. I think it depends what people are comfortable with.
We can ask maybe like if the person.
I don't think we get a huge YouTube viewing, but we get some people who have been watching them and showing some interest.
Yeah, actually, we're gonna lose a bit of interest now because we changed the YouTube channel, right? We had a playlist inside an organization's YouTube channel. Now we have a separate one. So we have, I think, most or all of the videos there, but like we used to have around 100, 200 views in our other videos. Now they're all like 0, right?
I wonder who those 200 people were. Like
probably me 200 times. Like, you know.
Clickbait thumbnails, yeah, good idea.
No, I know some people who watch them. Yeah, we need to make more clickbaity titles.
Also, like the image, people like this. What is organization? You won't believe what organization is.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Okay, so what can we put down just as a sort of I could definitely settle for like just clickbaity titles for all our videos.
Good.
Yeah, I think there has to be one where the one weird trick that capitalists hate.
You guys remember that fake magazine they did? This one.
10 tips to overthrow capitalism in 10 easy seconds.
Exactly.
That's good.
10 ways to please the urban proletariat.
It's impressive.
There are some really good ones.
Actually.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the best one is Stalin's. That's the sad truth. Look at this guy. Stalin strips down. There are so many good ones.
Oh my god.
Friedrich
Cosmos.
Engels tells all.
Yeah, exactly. I know this is really good. Mao's little red book of sexy secrets.
Oh my.
Playing the China card.
that a lot of people are doing that.
Flowering story.
Yeah, so I mean, there are possible influences if you guys want to go this direction. So, but just so we settle on something, then, like,
I think maybe the short, so yeah, still short presentations, right? Which can optionally be kept private, and then everyone writes a small, at least writes. I mean, people can still record their own video, but at least write a small bio for the Zulip.
these short presentations are for only for newcomers from now on. For newcomers going back, in the sense of people who haven't presented, or for everyone? Like, who should we?
I mean, going back would be nice if there are people who want to, I think.
Should we
That'd
make
be
it like arbitrary back? So whoever is here who still wants to do it, and then compulsory for people who join from now on?
Yeah, I think it can be optional, but maybe the thing you're going to present later, Gabriel, and the points
Yeah.
is relevant. Maybe you can get points for giving this short presentation.
Yeah, you guys will see. We have a very crazy idea, but it's nothing to be applied right now. It's just a really crazy thought. Okay, and then
I also, sorry, before we go ahead, I also wrote a introduction on Zulip, just to see how, like, a format we could follow using the stream that Efren created. But I might suggest let's rename the stream because I'm not sure I like the name. Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Can rename it. Can you rename it? Or-
Yeah, I could do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So just to conclude here what Renzo said, so short presentations, they can be private if you want. They are optional for current members, compulsory for new members, and we are committing to everyone is writing a short bio in the introductory stream.
I have a question. Is it compulsory? Is it like you have to do, like, if you're a new member, you have to do a meeting in a certain time frame, or is it like you don't get tokens and you don't get into the token system?
No, forget the token thing, man. That's something I'm gonna just suggest for the future. Nobody knows about. Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not a real thing. Forget about that. Like,
no, it's because I was thinking, like, how is it going to be compulsory? Like,
just in the sense that somebody wants to join, and we collectively say, yes, you want to join. So just schedule a day to present something.
No, yeah,
good old peer pressure.
But what I was asking was, is it compulsory? Is it compulsory to join what? Like the Zulip, what exactly is, because people will still be able to access it like passively through YouTube, what's available. But what is the, like, what do you gain when you present?
Nothing. You get to join the group.
Yes,
like,
but
it's just like, man, introduce yourself and your research. Just
no, yeah, but no, but what I'm asking is, like, what do you actually join? Like, because for example, can you join the Zulip and not do a presentation? Is that what we're saying? Like, or you can't join Zulip unless you do a presentation? That's
Yeah,
what I'm
I think
asking.
it would be something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, because like when we talk to people, we have to like, what are you joining? And they're like, no, the first rule of joining STP is that you don't know what you're joining.
yeah. Yeah, I think it would be like in that sense. Yeah, like joining
Okay,
the
that's
calendar
what I
for
wanted.
presentations. I mean, I think we can be very, very loose with this. It's just like it's it's a easier way to be acquainted.
No, yeah.
And so on. So like, I wouldn't put it like you want this. You can only have it if you.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I just like wanted to, so you get, it's like you get access to a forum. That's it. That's like
Yeah, and you start presenting, because I mean, if we do the other thing we thought of doing, which is redoing the website and getting everyone the access to the YouTube channel and so on, like to have your presentations up on the website and so on, you need to have access to the passwords and things like this. So
for sure,
right? I mean, there is some minimal content that distinguishes if you're actually part of this thing or just watching the videos on YouTube, right?
But you can still access the Zoom links, right? So you
can still come to the meetings. I mean,
come to the meetings, but to get into the Zulip.
Yeah, I think we just do this. Like, of course, everyone can. I mean, I don't think we need to be strict with any of this.
Yeah,
like, there are some people who will want to be around a bit. Sure, put them into Zulip first, and just don't let them forget that this is a good thing for the group for them to at some point.
Yeah. No, I don't think you have to be the strict father stuff, but I get it.
Yeah.
At once they are in like a symbolic death.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like you're in here. There's a. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So then the second thing that we talked about, which I think, honestly, I think it's something we spoke of perhaps with too few people around, and perhaps my opinion is that it might have been a bit rushed in deciding like an overarching idea for the year. But anyway, this is something we did discuss at the end of last year, which is the idea for a sort of overall framework of orienting their collective research. So of course, nobody needs to present anything in this direction, but just to help coordinate different topics and try to bring them together, which is to try to focus a bit more on case studies, which is something that we ended up having a bit more of in the Atlas. It was kind of clear that there is a lot to do in that direction that we haven't thought of, both in theoretical terms, methodology, also it would be a way to bring other people from the outside into the group by inviting them, almost like interviewing them and so on. But I wonder how much the enthusiasm with this proposal was kind of momentary and how much of it is like something that people really, really want to do. I mean, I'm definitely enthusiastic about it. I would probably propose meetings in that direction, but I wonder how general the enthusiasm is with this, to the point that we would actually, if somebody asks you, you would say, yeah, this year we're going to be doing this or that. So, but it was something we did kind of bring up, right? I do think it's very, very general, like probably a more general idea than it looks like. My impression is that the core of it is actually that it would solve some other problems we have, right? To begin with the gender issue, which is it's very hard for women, other people to come into this ridiculously saturated place with men and feel comfortable, especially when research is already going. So something where we get to interview people, they get to be introduced into what we're doing through the struggles that they're already going through and so on, might also have the sort of diplomatic mediating role of opening what we're doing to people who are studying other things and that might not at first see how the two projects fit together, right? Tech-driven politics is a very kind of macho field at the moment. So I imagine people see our group from the outside and say, I know what's going on there, like cyber communist incel hacker culture.
Mhm.
So like, imagine that. People are like, okay, I don't want anything to do with that. So that sort of idea would both solve a theoretical kind of lack we have. We haven't really gotten to discuss more concrete case studies, political case studies, and it would be a diplomatic way to invite people like, why don't you come and talk about your research? You don't need to, or the political process you're involved in, you know, and slowly empty out this impression, hopefully, that the group is meant to be a small cult for nerdy virgins or something. Yeah.
I think it's an open enough topic that it still lets people who are not directly working with activists, with the case studies. I think it also leaves a lot of room for methodological research, for the framework research.
Mhm.
So I don't see it as much as a complete change of direction, but a different focus, like a season 2. So
yeah. I also don't want people to mean, I think that having this sort of overreaching thing might be probably is meaningful in the sense of, I have 2 ideas I want to present. Probably if I take the one that comes closer to this orientation, it will be easier for it to resonate with somebody else who's also making the same decision. But
Mhm.
if you don't have like an option, you're researching this specific ridiculously abstract mathematical thing, you have no idea how it relates to whatever this is, that's not a problem at all, right? It was never a problem and shouldn't be a problem now. So it's not meant to like take you out of your path so much as attract your path in a direction in case, you know, bifurcations exist, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I don't think it's like gonna suddenly becomes a mandatory thing in any sense to do this or that. But I think in that sense, it seems to be possible. And also I think it's also good to be able to promote what the group is doing, like even if it's totally vague to say this to somebody, suddenly it makes a bit more sense than say, yeah,
Mhm.
because there is this, you know, relation between category theory and whatever. Like people go, okay, like they did it. No, throughout the year, we're gonna be inviting people or presenting case studies and trying out our different tools we're developing, seeing how they fit with these things. I think it's easier to convince people as well.
Yeah, I think the momentum in general with us is also kind of going in that direction regardless, especially like I feel like there's been not like a coalescing necessarily, but like a lot of the maybe like core commitments I think we're kind of set on, or like throughout the past 2 years, I think things have started to become more clear, but like expanding past these like weird high up abstract concepts that we have a lot of these weird ideas about what to do with, I think is unavoidable and necessary.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I mean, we should, I think it would be a pity if suddenly all researchers are totally directed in the same direction, because
Mhm.
there's so much that we ended up learning by taking very weird routes, right? So I think anything that takes that away from the table would be kind of bad. But I don't know, it seems to me that this impetus makes kind of sense. I don't know. One thing that I would add just to this is that I separated in a different slide the kind of projects that are on the table that we were either invited or somebody mentioned that they would like to do, like translating the current atlas or revising it. We were invited to do an online course based on the stuff we're doing. But this is one new thing that I mentioned very quickly on WhatsApp, which is there's this journal we already published in, Crisis and Critique. We published 2 years ago, I think. and they invited us to contribute to their September edition, which is like a big special edition with like really the big political celebrities are
Mhm.
writing. So it seems fitting that, let's say, we have a writing opportunity for like the second semester, and that it seems to justify, right, or possibly converge with the idea that we're listening to people, doing a bit more, opening more space for discussing concrete political processes, and suddenly we might have something to say, something to write by September, even if it's much shorter than 150 pages this time. Right.
Mhm.
So I feel like the two things could also fit together, possibly having this kind of theme for the year and having this particular publishing opportunity, right? So yeah, I don't know, like, what do you guys think? Should we keep this at least for now as a sort of overarching idea, or does anyone feel like it's not really a good idea? I don't know.
Here,
Uh,
are we deciding on
fine.
what the actual proposal is? I mean, point number 2 is engage more with case studies and required methodologies. So what decision would you like to make here?
I'm not sure if you were in the meeting where we discussed this, but one thing that we discussed last meeting, I think, was that it was clear that having a sort of common project to work around, which was the journal project, for example, helped to facilitate intersections between topics that everyone is researching. So we said, why don't we try to do this again for this year, but with a theme rather than like a publishing project. So the idea that came up was, let's have as a kind of general theme, even if we're not necessarily following it all the time, but as a sort of general orientation, that we would try to both invite people from outside of the group to present their experiences in different political processes, or present to others here examples from case studies in politics, or debate, you know, what is a case study? How would we ever bring the tools we're developing closer to political practice to begin with? So can both be theoretical issues, like us presenting historical situations, or getting people to come from the outside and presenting their own things, right?
Okay, got it. Thank you.
I think it's nice because it's like, I agree, it's not really like a changing of route. It looks more like a new, like, first we were like building this big skeleton, and now we're trying to like find like the sort of like feet of the monster, like the grounding boss or something. So there are like two, but there's something that we have to more like actively build, which are this case studies, right? But I'm thinking also that the very idea of focusing of case studies might also like, could also like imply organizationally like having more like study groups that are like focused on, like, people will be interested in different cases to study. So I think incorporating this in like our functioning, like people being able to like form like small groups to study, I don't know, like Russian Revolution, and then that would be nice to incorporate if we're following with this project, like having mechanisms to work in this. I think it's like a more decentralized sort of like multi-initiative, something like that. Maybe on Zulip it's even easy to do that. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we're gonna do with this, like if it's people are gonna join more like groups in reading and just studying one long discussion of a case study, or if we get like shorter thing, I think we don't need to settle on that, because it's hard also to know the level of interest that each one will have in this sort of thing. I mean, I think it should still be very viable and, you know, exciting to choose to do something totally different than this for the rest of the year.
Mhm.
Like, if you want to present very technical mathematical stuff there's no clear relation between these things, that's fine, you know. But I think that so it's hard, I think, to settle on like a format or something like this. But I just wanted to, I think for now, all we needed to do is to decide if this general vague framework is something we still want to pursue, or if it's better not to have anything like that in the horizon. I think that's most of the decision we can make before we start seeing what sort of presentation or sort of ideas appear.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Also, this related, we might want to start either choosing maybe some standard other time, just because now we have people in even more varied time zones. Renzo's in Italy, all around. So maybe instead of only having Monday night as an option, if we can have another, and we know it's not like we have to do 2 a week necessarily, but like maybe switch or something, just to
Yeah, I actually think that
make it
this is
easier for
yeah.
people in different time zones.
Yeah, I think this will be a really big topic, in fact, like having everybody present in one meeting, like always having sequential meetings, never kind of parallel, where people get to choose between doing this or that, or changing, having an option for the time zone. I think it's going to be very hard to always have give the opportunity for everyone to be present at every meeting. Like,
that's definitely true.
So,
but we can probably like hedge our bets, kind of, you know. So probably, I mean, we can probably keep Monday night and then maybe just pick another time that, like, for people that Monday evening or afternoon generally doesn't work. An alternative one that at least some of, maybe it's not every single one, but at least some presentations can be on a different time.
Yeah, I think we should definitely come up with a solution to that.
I like this idea of having 2 different slots. I think even if like people from Monday can't go to the one on the other day, I think I like this idea of hedging, and maybe alternating could be something like 1 week on one time and then the other week on the other, and then like if people can go twice a month, I think it's already it's good. Like, even if they can't go to all of them, like because they can't go to one of them, I think it might allow more people to get engaged in the discussions.
Yeah, so but let's just divide that decision into 2, right? I mean, this is just on the do we keep this general heading for the year, right? And apparently everyone is on board, right? Okay, I'll just assume so. Yeah, I think that this topic here, probably I'll just add what you guys mentioned as a big topic, right? It should have a separate heading, which is solve the issue of scheduling, right? Not everyone can be.
Yeah. So this might be as easy as just adding a second time, and we maybe switch off.
Yeah, I think that the 2 proposals that appear now were, the first is yours of having, let's say, an added day that we can switch to that day if somebody wants to join and Monday is not good for them. So it should be, in that case, the second date should be the second best for everyone and the best for some people, right? The other option is to have a second date, which is fixed as well. And we already know that some people will miss the second day, some people will miss the Monday meeting, and we just oscillate between the 2. So everyone gets 2 meetings a month, at least. I think they're slightly different, right? I mean, I have the impression that there isn't an issue there where probably we should just first map people's time zones or the good times for them, like just use one of those crappy websites for you know, trying to coordinate schedules, just so we get a feel for what's, you know, like I forgot the name of it.
It's like when is good. There's a few of them.
Yeah, exactly. Doodle and those.
Doodle,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, just so we have an idea, because I think if we decide something here, it's not gonna. Yeah. Efren is just. He sent us to the app behind all apps. Yeah, so probably that means that we need some small level of tyranny to make that decision.
Yeah, democracy is impossible.
Yeah, but even though democracy is impossible, you can still have different degrees
A little
of tyranny.
A little
Let's
bit
say.
of it, yeah.
Yeah, so we won't have democracy, but we can have more or less tyranny in this decision, right?
Yeah.
To make a more informed, can be philosopher kings or not. So I think we
We'll
should
go for
map.
just a little bit less tyranny. Not a lot, just a little bit less.
Yeah, so how about this? Like we just we map everyone's schedule so we can consider that, so we can make a more informed dictatorship of the open schedule.
I mean, if everybody does the doodles for the semester, we could get like maybe even there's an alternate day from Monday that we're not even aware of because we haven't talked about it. So like if everybody could fill in what their availability during the week is, like we don't like leave Monday. Like it's not like we're gonna exclude Monday, but like something else might appear that surprises us.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that also the problem with this sort of thing is that I think the Eros theorem actually shows that democracy is not a static thing. Like you can also adjust yourself to something you like. You don't need to simply have it match your preference, right? So some people might be able to move around once they know there's no way their preferred time is right. I mean, actually, we would need to correct the best times based on how flexible the ones who didn't get their chosen time are to move to the ones that were selected.
I think Doodle even has that option, but
Cool.
okay.
Okay, but anyway, like there's still two options here. We need to choose between: is the second meeting time gonna be oscillating like as a cycle with the first one, so everyone gets at least 2 meetings a month, or is it we keep one and then in case something is happening and somebody cannot make it, we have the alternative one?
Okay.
I think we need to choose.
The basic question I think I have is, are we thinking about having 1 meeting per week or 2 meetings per week, or sometimes even 2 meetings per week?
I think probably still 1, unless we like have a lot of interest or something like that. But just maybe changing some of the times sometimes. Maybe like every other week is one option.
So if you have 1 meeting per week, then we are setting our regular time for say Monday, and then we have another tentative slot that if Monday is not working for majority of the people or mainly the presenter, maybe we are moving to the tentative slot. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think we can use
Something like that.
the plan B for many things. Like it's worth having an extra meeting that week for some reason. Well, we already know like the second best schedule for that second thing.
But we use that tentatively, meaning that we are using that second time only if the first time doesn't work. Not
yeah,
that
I think that's a big decision.
Times.
Is it the fail safe? Is it the plan B? Or is it that we have 2 plan A's and they actually oscillate between the two, right? I think probably probably we should make that decision based on the Doodle results, because if we realize that like 99% of people are really comfortable with Monday and there's no other time, then we should have like a plan B. But if there are many people who can go in both, then we could facilitate to some people 1 week and to others in the other, we wouldn't lose that much. So perhaps we can make a more informed theoretical decision.
Yeah, the only problem is that just from experience, if, for example, our regular meeting is on Mondays at 6 p.m. Rio time, and then majority of people or most of the time we meet that time, it is very easy on a personal level to lose the other time slot. I mean, fill it with something else and
Yeah, true.
things like that, right? So I don't know exactly how it would work in practice, but yeah, I get the idea. Like we probably need multiple slots, but unless we use that slot, we actually do meet in that slot, we are going to lose it. I mean, people are not just keeping that time slot in their calendar just in case.
Yeah, but for example, we could, let's say when we're gonna move around schedules, we do it with a bit of antecedence, like more than a week ahead of time, and then we update the plan B every 2 months or so, right?
And that is based on what algorithm? I mean, we choose based on what the size that we move.
I think, well, in this idea, we would just check if it's still open from time to time. And a way to check is to use the doodle thing where everyone puts in their free slots of time and we overlap them and see which are the ones that are.
So in this
free
case,
for
there is no
mostly.
preferred go-to time. Like every week we chat that, let's say, just for argument's sake, it is Monday and then Wednesday.
No, that would be fixed. Wednesday would be fixed until the end of a certain cycle where we then just send the doodle thing for everyone again and see, like we tried to meet at Wednesday, it didn't work. So now we know it's not working. So we send the doodle again, find a new plan B, and now we have a new plan B and we update it whenever needed.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure if that's enough.
Yeah, I like to see it in practice. I'm not quite following. So we are not. So let's say that we had this. We had 2 days. Are we every time we want to meet, we say which day is more appropriate for everybody? Is it Monday or is it Wednesday? Is that
No,
the
the
way
idea is fixed on Monday, and then no, exactly. Yeah, we check if for some reason it's not a good day for that week. We have an option.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, but
Okay, I'm gonna send a doodle right now just to the WhatsApp, just so people can at least put it in, so we can maybe get an idea of what the distribution looks like.
Oh, I was
That's okay,
creating.
yeah?
in any case,
What?
apparently everyone prefers to have a plan B rather than the oscillating where it's the second date is a fixed every other week date, right?
Yeah, I was creating the doodle. How did you put like slots for every hour in the day?
Yeah,
Oh.
I just put slots for every hour. I just sent a thing.
Okay, then.
On WhatsApp
Hopefully it
or
should work. To the work. I can fill it
Yeah.
out too. I think you should be able to see if other people fill it out.
Yeah, I'm seeing. Oh, yes, a lot of
Yeah,
slots.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just filled them out. I did it by, I guess, my time from like 9 to 8 p.m. my time, but that should approximately be.
Yeah,
I'm
you should be
assuming-
the earliest one, so that should cover everything.
So just to make sure, guys, so we can close this topic, like, is everyone preferring the idea that the second date will function as a plan B, which, as Reza said, we might actually lose because if it's not always used, we will fill it with something else and we'll need to update? Or do we want the second date to be one that it's like every other week is the other date? So we oscillate between the two.
I think it depends on the doodle results. I mean, I
Okay,
like
so,
the
okay.
idea. I like the idea of oscillating, but I think it doesn't matter if 99% of people are available on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in my case, like Monday is in my calendar. I know, and I'm not gonna. I'm hopefully don't have to change that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I actually in the Doodle there's an option that is like yes, no, and if needed. I don't know if that's useful for us, but
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning.
Yeah,
I think
that's
Oh, I don't think I added that to the thing.
I think
Okay.
it's in the last. In the last
It'll automatically switch the, it should automatically switch the time zones for whoever is looking at it, John.
Okay, so just so we can move ahead. The other thing we all talked about, I think it has a lot to do with the second point, which is the sort of general research idea, which is also to kind of take the time to have meetings with external people from other areas or other interests coming and presenting, not only things that have to do with case studies and politics, but generally, like, I think we're getting more interest now from people from applied category theory. I was talking to some guys these days, and I think they might be interested in presenting something. We know we quoted some people in the Atlas that we actually have access to. We could invite them, like Rodrigo Nunes, to talk about his book and things like this. So the idea was to put more emphasis on this and inviting people to give presentations in our, I mean, it also has to do with the third point, which is if we have a second time that we know also works for a lot of people, we can also offer people two options, right? You can present on Monday night or some others. So they're also connected in that sense. But also if this is something we want to do as a group, right? Or, I mean, meeting time is kind of scarce, right? So I think it's actually, it's not gratuitous that we didn't choose this last year anytime. Like, we could have invited other people to present, but we didn't. And I think that possibly it's because we only have this one meeting a week and we were talking about all these things. So I think it's actually a big decision to okay, we're going to allot some time and we're going to force ourselves to invite other people to present or not, right? Besides our own presentations, besides newcomer presentations, besides interviews with people from case studies and things like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's something to.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to have some of those people that have expressed interest present something. I don't know if they necessarily would. Or like asking them to do the extra work, but some that express more
I think
interest,
it
maybe.
wouldn't be hard to do it. Actually, I think it's something to decide also if we do it like a why, right? To bridge a certain kind of gap and bring people from other disciplines closer. It can be something like, for example, Daniel Tutt's group, this study groups on psychoanalysis and politics, what they do is that when they really want to invite somebody with a bit more of, you know, like an author who published this or that, they actually separate it from their study groups and do like the small events, you know. It's something we could have in our kind of schedule to imagine, okay, in 3-4 months, we're going to organize like a day with 4 presentations. We're going to invite people, register people, and host this thing. So it's slightly different than like bringing them into our presentation schedule, right? So I think there are many options there. It's not simply let's force ourselves to invite people to present, and we can actually change the format a bit for this.
Yeah, sure.
Any ideas on this topic? We can just leave it open if nobody also.
Yeah,
If you guys want more time.
I like the idea of having like one of those like mini conference type things, but that's like a whole thing to schedule and get ready, and you know, that's
I think at this point we actually have like we know groups in Brazil who study similar topics. We know groups in Slovenia who study similar topics. Actually, I just added to the other slide. We received through Twitter. They sent me a message saying they wanted to do something after the journal. Like some people wanted to join our meeting. They wanted like bibliographical references. So I mean, if we come up with a project and invite them, I'm sure some of them would like to present as well. So I I think that's viable. Like that's not that far-fetched that we could host like a small event and get people interested in it. But yeah, perhaps we don't need to make this into like a more compulsory or strategic thing, like the newcomers give presentations or things like this. Like perhaps it's more
Yeah.
something we can add as a project, like translating the atlas, doing, you know, writing.
I think it could be done like as in like what opportunities we see and what people we can find it, then we talk to them to see what kind of thing would be comfortable for them. I don't think there's since we're asking people to present something to us and to discuss with us, I think we'll be having to adapt ourselves more than like setting like, no, this is the date that you get to present, and then
because this would be one option to say, like, we wanted to hear from you what you're doing. Be in front of your computer at this time, this day.
Yeah, I think
send them like an email just with a link and a date.
Yeah, and a Zoom link. I think that's a bit too philosopher king, even for me. So
if it's too much for you, then I know I need to definitely tone it down.
But I do think I think the idea of experimenting with events, seminars, like not something that's academic but I do think open events are something that could be interesting to like invite people from outside who we want to hear. Like we can give in a different setting, maybe. I don't know. I think it would be fun to experiment with stuff like that. But I think it needs to be a case per each case.
Yeah, not to make like a commitment to do it regularly, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if it's useful to have like a minimal protocol of like, because there seems to be like two paths. Like one, as people like come and like we invite to present, then we could like we'll have these 2 times that we normally use, and then if no one works for you, we can figure out like a 3rd time. So maybe like this minimal protocol could be something. And then I think a separate way would be to put like stop and put some effort to organize like something like a workshop or something.
Yeah.
Like we could try to maybe some months in the future, like sometime this year, try to stop to organize something like.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Daniel Tutt joins us, like, which I think he might do. He's doing this all the time now, right? He organizes this huge events and so on. So rather than just out of the blue coming up with something, emailing people, inviting them, we'll probably have a bit more of infrastructure. We can just partner up with his own thing. And so, yeah, okay. So what do I, like, we don't want to make this like a regular thing.
Not like as something on the schedule, just like.
Okay, yeah, not something where, like, for example, if we're going to organize our calendar, we're not going to leave an empty slot for external presentations.
Yeah. I don't think, but I do think we have to have an effort to make this one of our priorities, because I think it could be. Yeah, it's important, but I don't think it has to be on the calendar.
Yeah, another thing that we mentioned at the end of the year, I think John was thinking of writing a short script in this direction, but we thought of, rather than trying to summarize important points of what we've been doing, like just in text form, we thought about writing small shorts, like 3-page long texts, kind of scripts. Somebody reads them, and then people here who have some editing skills just edit like this short video with some images and things like this, so we can kind of promote what we've been doing in a slightly more interesting way than just like the wiki sort of idea we had first. Like, let's just have short summaries of like concepts and ideas in a wiki format, right? So I have the impression that this, from everything we've just said, this might be like, to commit to this might be, in my opinion, might be a bit too much. Like, probably we should just see if we manage to do one of these, if they work, and then we can make like a more, can commit to it more. I don't know, like.
Yeah, I agree.
I really like the idea, and if John's still up for it, I'd definitely love to help out. But I have the impression that it's probably condensing things to 3 pages.
Yeah, it's definitely something like I want to keep sketching out, but it's going to be a while. But I definitely, I think just same thing as like the events. If like things come together in a certain way, we can make it work. And I'm kind of just thinking something really general around like composition and stuff. And so it might be like, as we're meeting more people and talking, if the right kind of things click, we just say, hey, this is something we wanted to do. We've got this YouTube channel already set up. Let's try this. So we just kind of keep it on the table. But yeah, I'm definitely not a spot to be like, yeah, here's your script and let's advance production. ABC.
Efren said we can just do like really short, like 1 minute long things. I think that probably
I think a minute would be a little crazy. I think 3 minutes is
like
kind of
1 minute. It's just like a long silence, and then suddenly somebody says like one word, whispers like a concept.
A monster.
Okay, so I'll just leave this not something we are committing to right now. Then there is something a bit more, takes a bit more of effort that I know just you and I were already doing this. We were downloading all our videos and uploading them to a new YouTube channel. One thing we need to do is to share with everyone actually, I think it's Renzo who has the email and the password for the new YouTube channel. Probably we shouldn't post it now on our recorded public video, but still, which would be like the password and the email for the exact account that the person is watching this video on. But yeah, I think we should share this, and Dennis is working on redoing the website. I lost that link you sent me, Dennis. Do you have it there, just so we can share?
Oh yeah, let me send that link. So there's actually 2 links right now, but we can combine them to the same URL. So the front end is this one, and it's really simple. It just shows meetings and kind of tells you when the meeting is, and also you can click on it to
you want to share the screen, man?
Yeah, let me share.
Just ability. Okay.
Yeah, so here's the front end. So as you guys see, you can see the meetings in the list, and in the end, we'll be able to search through meetings. So right now it's only one, so it will filter out the meetings for you. So there's 3 categories, right? There's the very next meeting. It will calculate when that is, and display that. And then it'll be a link here. So it's really easy for anyone who just wants to jump into the meeting to go to the site and then click on this first card. Then planned meetings will be meetings we've scheduled in the future. And then previous meetings will be obviously the archive, which you can search. And then the nice part of this is it's fed into this content management system. So anyone who has a password, which I give the password to everyone here, can go in, and we have different what are called collection types that you can fill out. And so if I wanted to make a new meeting, for example, I can do like, go here, put in the date. So let's say the 24th, and then choose a time. I think this is in UTC, so you have to figure out, I think it's like 10:30 or something. And then you can put the recording link, the name of the meeting. So, and then something. And then when we click save and then publish, we should, when we refresh, we should see it here now. Now a planned meeting has been created for January 24th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then it also figures out if it's in the past, right? If the date is in the past, it will go into the previous meetings.
Yeah, so if
Yeah.
we backtrack and add all the past meetings and link them properly and so on, it will just create this archive, right? It won't create them as planned meetings. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And if you add a link, a YouTube link, then this becomes clickable and it will take you to the YouTube channel.
I see.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's really simple, but
Okay, that'll make all of us be able to contribute to it too.
Yeah,
which
because I
will
think,
make it a little
yeah, I
easier
think the
to
main
actually,
thing
like,
is
build it up.
this, yeah. To be able that,
Cool.
like you're presenting, then you know that you need to record the Zoom meeting on your computer, upload it to the YouTube channel, which you have the password, and then add the relevant data here, right?
But do we put the Zoom meeting link in the meeting that we're planning, or is that like, or
yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, you can put the Zoom link here, and then it will be clickable to go to the Zoom to the meeting when it starts. Yeah, so that's what link is for. Link is for the Zoom link. Recording is for the YouTube link.
Okay, so when it's a past meeting, it will automatically just, when you click on the meeting, will it go to the YouTube, or will it go to
Exactly.
the- Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
Great.
think the logic is, yeah, if the recording link exists, then it overwrites the Zoom link. or
That's
Zoom
great.
link.
That's very easy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I mean, we need to write this. I think the Zulip, like having a Zulip string for learning how to use the website should be easy to create. We have this like a fixed post there. But basically, I think what you need to do is you create the plan meeting, right? So it's like in the future. And then once it's done, you go back here, you upload the video on YouTube and click the link there. And then it will update it properly in the archive, right?
Yeah.
We have been using, I guess, your Zoom, right, Gabriel? Should we like maybe
Have an STP Zoom.
have an SVP Zoom? So we
I don't, I mean, I would have no problem of sharing the password with everyone so everyone can use it. Even if I'm not able to be around in the meeting. Like, again, I think in the Zulip, we can have like a password, like some relevant information in one of the how-to guides, right? So the basic Zoom, YouTube, and website material could be there. And that's also the reason why we don't put people in Zulip unless they're already engaging in some level, right? But I don't know. I don't think we should spend money with a separate Zoom account. Like, and I don't use it that often, and I need to have the paid one for classes. So, and unless like we find the new problem we haven't thought of why not using like the one we already have, I think it's fine.
Yeah, that does bring up also the topic of like costs for running all this stuff. Like, so you have to pay for the Zoom account, but we're all sharing it. So I think we should probably record that as like a group cost, right?
Yeah, but the problem is that the share of time that we use my Zoom account, it's very small. Like,
Oh, okay.
3 hours a week, I use it for 50 hours for patients and classes, and then it's 53 because of us. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I
But
think that. Sorry, yeah.
how does it work? Like you have like a given number of hours you can use, or is it like unlimited?
No, it's unlimited, and I pay just so the meeting is not cut off at some point, right? And we have some like recording and stuff. But I mean, just considering like, okay, how much we actually use of this? Should this be a group cost? And from the amount that I pay to have the Zoom account, if you just see the amount of hours I actually use, how many of them are for the STP, it's kind of negligible, you know, it's not that much. Like it's not even close to be the main use of the account. So,
But like if, yeah, no, I'm just thinking because if like you start having like more meetings, like
Yeah.
even people to like meet just to talk, it would be nice to have like a institutional.
yeah, I agree. It's probably something that
Weird to like to just like start using your like for anything.
No, I agree. I mean, at some point it would be good possibly to have like our own. But I mean, it's a very specific moment where there becomes necessary, right? I mean, you need to have a lot of meetings happening at very random times and other tools not be serving that purpose. So I don't know. I think that definitely something to think about. I just don't think it's like a main issue right now. Like I wouldn't invest any money in this right now. One thing I think it should be mentioned concerning the website and probably YouTube is that I mean, this is just an intuition that I have, probably not something for now, but for the kind of near future. If the group starts to grow and let's say the plan B schedule that we have, like time slot, starts to be used in parallel with the first one, because we have more than a lot of people, the interests are kind of divergent at some points and people want to see some meetings, people want to see another meeting. It starts to become very important to make sure that when you kind of save the meeting or save your recording, that it's easy for other people to know what's there so that they can make the connections between researchers that we're interested in, right? So for example, currently when we upload things on either on our website or on YouTube, I only have I only add the title and the website's the web address at the description. But probably it would be a good practice when we update this website to actually add some relevant description so people can actually understand if that's a meeting they should invest their time in, right?
Yeah, I agree. And maybe even like categorizing some stuff with tags. We could basically add like tags to this if we want.
Yeah, I think that might
Hashtags.
also make the Zulip thing more relevant, right? Because if the Zulip tags for streams are good ones, they should also probably be good ways of cataloging our meetings, right?
Ah, yeah, that's a good point.
So we can use one thing as a reference for the other as well.
Yeah, I also added this, it adds a YouTube icon if it's a YouTube link.
Ah, okay, cool.
So if you click it, it should go to YouTube.
It will not be easy. Sounds like like the truth.
What did you write this in, Dennis? Like,
Yeah, this is a Next.js application. So it's a JavaScript. I can actually paste the GitHub for it.
I started to learn a bit of front end. So at some point, if I know enough, I could try to help.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. One is using the content management system is called the Strapi, whatever. It's kind of like WordPress, but it provides an API that you can call from your front end.
Okay, so should we move?
I'll stop here.
Yeah, should we move to the next point? Okay, so in this case, then it's pretty much. I mean, how much? Like, what do we need to do before we can start, let's say, moving things to this new website or?
Yes, we need to move all the meetings from the current website
Yeah,
to this new one, right? So I can give the login for whoever wants to do that. Basic, or it might be a team effort, multiple people. We split up and basically move all existing meetings. So you have to create an entry for each one.
yeah. So probably this is the sort of thing that they actually need to decide who's gonna work on this, right? Like somebody needs
Yeah.
to actually go through the thing. And I mean, I think as of now, we have about 40, or no, right? I mean, a bit more. We have 47 videos. So 47 meetings to previous meetings to catalog, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, is there like, I think we lost the information about when those videos happen, right? It would be
No,
nice.
I added to all the titles. I think Jasio didn't when he uploaded, but
Oh.
some of them, like 20 of them have, yeah, these are the ones he did. I don't think he added the, yeah, but
I
some of
can-
them have like the time, the dates here. And if you go to our website, the current website, the one where either to the website or to this image here, right? The website updates, the diagram itself, they all have dates. So it's easy to find here.
Mhm.
Right? They're like this. So you can find when they happen. But yeah, but I think we should probably, I mean, we can like mention this in WhatsApp or on Zulip and see who wants to do it. Probably something like we'll take an afternoon if we divide between two people.
Yeah, I can be one of them.
Okay, so I can help out with that as well. Plus we get people from WhatsApp. So people who are not here might want to do it as well. I know Jasio helped out, he might want to do it. And I think that probably a good thing to do is some people move the content there. Then, I mean, if you presented something, possibly it's a good idea for you to revise that entry and add a better description or a tagline or something, right?
Yeah.
I think like one thing is to move, like to add YouTube links and some basic date information. The other thing is to add slides and description, which I think presenters are better equipped to do, right? So like, I think Renzo and I and some other people can do the transposition, and presenters add slides and description, right, for their own. And I think another thing here is that we need to make sure everyone knows how to use these things, right? So how to access the YouTube channel and upload a video, how needs to know how to schedule a Zoom session, a Zoom meeting, record, upload, on YouTube, create entry, planned entry, right, on website, and update it with information afterwards. So like everyone should be able to do this for their meetings. Then, I mean, this thing we already did. The only thing here is to make sure we get everyone email and add everyone there. And I think let everyone know that they can download an app on their cell phone if that makes it easier, and just give people a guide of how to use it, right? But I guess everyone is on board with that idea of having a Zulip community, right?
And do we don't delete the WhatsApp group, right? I mean,
Oh, I think we can keep it for
we
I
just
think
try
we
to.
should. Yeah, I think a good principle is have enough infrastructure so that you don't need WhatsApp, but then keep WhatsApp just for
For
death
BB
drive reasons. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I created way too many stickers to, I'm into deep into it now. I can't let go of.
Our memes channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Register everybody, teach them how to use it, but keep the group.
Can I post the on Zulip like the login and password of the?
Yeah, I think we should, like, I don't think we need to be that.
You can always put it in the core team. What's it called, stream, because it's a private one. I don't know. When you join, do you see previous posts?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so probably put it in the core team if you're gonna put like a password and stuff.
But if people are like uploading on YouTube and all this kind of stuff, they will need it.
Yeah, I think everyone here is on this core team anyways. It's basically everyone right now, just for the future. I don't know, just
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, you can
if
do
it grows
just,
and we don't want the password just to be out there.
yeah, I think it's, I mean, it's the same thing as making it public on Zulip, but it just adds one layer, which is, let's say we allow people to join. They're not really sure they want to stay in the group, right? They haven't done their own presentation of their research. So like this sort of test drive moment, then they don't have access to the information. The moment that they need it because they're doing presentations, then they have access to it, right? I think that's enough.
Mhm.
Then comes this big topic here, which is Dennis created this spreadsheet to help us organize our next meeting, right? It has different things here. So it has a presentation schedule and the dates on top, right? He added this idea of blocking some meetings that would be kind of stored or already kind of fixed for these newcomer presentations, but I'm not sure if we, based on what we said, if we should have like a fixed moment in the month where we do this or not. In any case, like it's a simple enough system for people to schedule, the meetings they want to do. Possibly this topic, this headers here might change if in that particular week it's not going to be our regular meeting time, if it's going to be the plan B, or if in time we're going to have the oscillating idea. So this should change, but with this you can already start kind of facilitating us having a view of when you want to present, what you want to present, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is gonna be extra work now that we're agreeing on using the website. But actually it's still useful, right? Because you can see who is presenting what.
Yeah, and I think also, I mean, this is I think the website, it's not a good way for the members to learn what's going to happen, right? I think this thing is, I mean, the link for it can be on Zulip, and then it facilitates also like coordinating a bit. Like if we realize that there are 3 meetings very far from each other that deal with very similar topics, we might suggest moving them closer together, for example. Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like it's good to visualize what people are thinking of doing. Like, and I think it's good to force people to have to set a date, even if it's a kind of, just a tentative one, rather than just have a list of things people want to present at some point. Like you can add one and then change it, but at least you add that information, like it's something that I could do in January. So you add a date in January, even if it's not settled, but it helps us to, I think, start getting a feel, right?
Isn't there a way to incorporate this spreadsheet to to that I forgot the name, like the thing to like update the site.
Oh,
We
you
can-
mean like feed this into the website? Yeah, that would be nice if.
Because
website
otherwise I
update this.
think it might be too many, like we would have the sheets, the Zulip and the YouTube and the platform.
Yeah, it's
Like
true. Like perhaps, I mean, just thinking of the workflow, right? What would I do? Like I want to present something. I would add it to the spread. Currently would be I add to the spreadsheet and I let everyone know where people are looking at the spreadsheet regularly. Probably I would let them know in Zulip. Then if, okay, it's settled, I'm gonna do it. This is a good date. It's like 2-3 weeks ahead of time. It's not like 6 months ahead of time. Then I go on a website, create the planned entry with a Zoom link. When the day comes, I do the presentation, then I upload it on YouTube and revise the entry, and that's it, right? The place we could shorten in this whole thing is rather than adding it here and then mentioning on Zulip so people know, we just say it on Zulip. Like planned meetings, future meetings, it's just like a stream. People are talking about it and deciding dates and so on. And once that's settled, you already start with a planned website entry and skip this spreadsheet. What do you guys think?
It's a bit more natural. Like it's not that we have like hundreds of like, if I don't know, I think it's.
Yeah,
saying
I think it could work with like just have a Zulip stream saying like future meetings and people
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, it might be a bit confusing to have like, I want to, just written down with no sort of diagrammatic info, no little squares to organize it, but probably is better than people having to open the spreadsheet and add their, this never worked, to be honest. Like we never created a spreadsheet that everyone filled in, like.
Yeah, no, that's the one weakness here. But like, for example, and nobody uses it, but so for example, you're recording decisions right now in the slides directly. But where are we going to go when we need to like reference the decision? We have to find the link to your slide.
Yeah, my idea was to copy these pages here onto like, we have SCP organization here.
Yeah.
My idea
Okay,
was to create like resolutions from general meeting on the date, blah, blah, and I would just add it like as a list here and tag people.
Okay, yeah, I think that could work.
Like we even have already a 2012, 2022 plan, right? So just add it here probably.
Yeah, so we don't need the spreadsheet then. We just put everything we would have put in the spreadsheet into Zulip.
Yeah, I mean, I understand Renzo's concern. Actually, Renzo, now we totally changed the meaning of New Year's resolutions. From now on, it means at which distance from objects you're going to be this year. The transcendental distance you're going to take from your problems this year. I'm going to be so aloof and distant from reality, everything's going to be like great.
I didn't mean resolution, I mean logical resolution.
Yes. Yeah, so what do you think then is I would try like go directly to Zulip and add like decisions and try to really make it into the main place to see like what was decided, what's going to happen, and try to avoid another tool. If that doesn't work, then we go to the spreadsheet.
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, I also agree. Like too many tools is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. We can just argue with it, with each other in the Zulip
Yeah. Perfect.
unendingly.
I
But at
do
least
think,
now we can
however,
see the
that-
arguments better.
I do think, however, there has to be a little bit of discipline in the planned meetings available, especially if the goal is to attract more people along the way. Because I think if the meetings are, if like you can't clearly see what's going to happen 3 or 4 meetings ahead, it may be I think it sends a good vibe of continuity and consistency externally. Like
Yeah.
internally, of course, there's a lot of consistency, but there has to be a little bit of consistency signaling, I think. And even so people can plan themselves, like, okay, I really want to go to this meeting. I don't know.
How does the site works then? It's like if there are pre-planned meetings, does it show just like the closest one, or?
No, if there's 3 planned meetings, it will show all of them in the planned meeting section. It only shows the next closest one in the next meeting section. So like if you have like January 24th, 25th, and 26th, then the next meeting is the 24th. And then 25 and 20, the 25th and 26th meetings will show up in planned meetings. As a
They are
full
like
list.
they are like sort of stacked on top of each other, right?
Yeah, they're stacked. Yeah.
So I think it gives like this idea of.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I think this probably is a good kind of scheme, like to know that if you're insecure about scheduling, you're going to discuss it on the planned meeting, like future meetings on Zulip, and say, I want to do this, and people are going to answer and so on. But when it comes, like if you're settled on what you want to do, I think you can skip that and just go to the website, put it there and tell people, right? Like, but where will you tell them? On that planned meetings Zulip thing, right? So we still get a view of the calendar through the website, which is just one thing. So we inform ourselves from the same place where we're telling other people to inform themselves about what we're doing, but we have the extra channel for like if there are issues, people are not sure, and so on, right?
So like if you have doubts, you discuss it in the stream. And if you don't have doubts, you put it on the website, but then you tell people, look, I've updated the website.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, I mean, I think it's probably a good practice, like not only to upload, like record, upload, and update the stuff, but also, I mean, if you want to present something, I mean, who's going to say no, you shouldn't present it? Of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Common courtesy.
Yeah. Sure.
No, I was going to like this idea of, because I was thinking about like if people want to just like chat, like meet to discuss or study, like is it something that we want to like, maybe that's not the like not maybe not right now, but it would be nice if at some point like you could also like post like future meetings, like we're gonna discuss this in a more like non-record, like it won't be recorded, but like maybe people who see it, it's like a theme that they interest, and then people we don't even know like join. It would also be nice to have like parallel, like it's a different functionality, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like this mainstream. It would be something like,
yeah, I think
maybe
this is something I really think again that we're gonna have to accommodate more and more, like the fact that things have a like if you even look at our original website, right, we never had like a singular thing. It was always a bit of like a thing with many tentacles. So it's very likely that as it grows, the tendency is that we were going to have things happening simultaneously. So we do need to have a good way of coordinating that, right? Okay, so this brings us to the last point, which is something somebody suggested, which is to create a shared bank account. For example, actually we have a very concrete issue, which is we have 12 authors for the Atlas thing. They don't have money, like they can't afford to send 12 copies and pay the shipping. So we would have to pay for the shipping of the copies we want, right? The added issue is that since it's in euros, like if you convert it to Brazilian reais, it's actually really, really, really expensive. So we thought of like pulling resources together and seeing how much everyone can give, and then paying for the 12 copies to be sent. I don't even know what's the best way to do it, like to pay them one copy to be sent to, for example, Renzo, who is in Italy, and then we pay Renzo to send it to all of us, or if they send it everything, they send it to the States, and then we send, like there's probably some logistics there to decide, right?
Um,
How about half and half? Like half to
yeah,
the
how much is it per, they're only asking us to pay for the shipping, right? Not for the price of the,
It's not on, yeah, just the
I believe, right?
shipping.
Do you know how much? I guess it probably will change, like, to the US, it might be more, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's like a fixed thing. I think they told me here, yeah.
Is it fixed? I'd be surprised.
We can't afford to send many copies for free since we normally charge €9 for shipping. And the real cost is somewhere close to that price. So it
Mhm.
oscillates around €9
Mhm.
per copy.
I mean, if it doesn't change the shipping, then might just as well like send to each home, right?
Mhm, mhm.
If it's cheaper, then
I wonder if sending to Brazil is gonna like arrive in a year or two because it's really bad. I mean, I'd love to have a
Yeah.
copy, but I was thinking like maybe
In your
Yeah.
lifetime.
yeah, I was thinking like if I think it'd be easier if it isn't a problem for Renzo, but maybe he could get the copies, the Brazilian copies, and we could use the Correios, the mail. If
Mhm.
I don't know if that would be possible. If
yeah,
it would be
I
much
could.
work
I
for
mean,
you.
I don't know. I'm probably coming back in August or before. Then I could bring it with me.
If it's not too much weight, because
I think it's.
Yeah, in Brazil there is you, me, Caron,
Thiago.
Moscardi, Thiago, Michael.
yeah, it's a lot of magazines.
It's a lot of, it looks, I mean, we totally monopolized it. It's like 110 pages for us, 70 pages for other people. Okay, so I
Does
mean,
that make a difference? Sorry, does that make a difference like where in Brazil the thing goes to? Because for instance, like I think most of the people are based in Rio, right?
yeah,
Like
true.
because like I could, like for instance, if it goes to Rio and it gets there and like I could either, I think I will go to Rio at some point, I hope at least. If yeah, I mean if the
Yeah,
world
you
doesn't
are
end.
coming here, come on.
Yeah, I just don't know when. I finished my master's. I don't have like
No,
any
we'll come up
direct-
with the excuse, don't worry.
Yeah, we should invent something though, like
Yeah,
just
we
a
will.
made up thing.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it would be it would potentially be cheaper, like to go everything to one place.
Okay.
But I don't know exactly how it works.
So
but it
I'll
would.
ask them if the price
Mhm.
of shipping goes up, if they send like 4 journals in one package to Rio and then we distribute. But the big, like this just prompted the issue of, okay, we got about 150 euros from them. And currently Renzo is keeping it. Like, should we have, like, is it time to have a shared bank account for the project, or do we need it? Don't we need it? Like, I had been like, I wasn't even thinking about this. I don't know. I don't recall who suggested it. Like, but if you guys think it's like necessary at this point.
Yeah, I think like from what I know about like these international account things, like it's very difficult to make like a sort of something that is not in somebody's name, you know, like it's always gonna be like someone's account that gets used. And then I think it's more a matter of like, does Renzo wants to be his name, like the account that is being used for like STP, or like should it be somebody else that also has an account outside and like it's easier to receive from like Europe, for instance, with lesser fees.
Yeah,
I love the
on this-
optimism that we're gonna make any more money.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
very optimistic.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, no,
if we
I'm
do want to do the Daniel Tut's proposal of a course, Renzo can be our Bogdanov, like our finance.
Sure.
Yeah,
But
he's part of heist money.
he hides the heist money.
So it's like
just,
anyway,
just
like-
to avoid, let me add one option here, because just to avoid the, I don't know, any, if you're uncomfortable with the legal, because it's probably easier if Renzo's just the treasurer, but if we want to avoid any legal issues, then you can go to this site here, and there's like a way you can put our organization under another one that is called like a fiscal host. Basically, they host our account, and you're able to like send and receive money through this way. I mean, I don't know much about it. I just know it.
The only thing I know about it is that they turned a pyramid into a circle. Like I watched their videos, and like, yeah, they are a structure for turning hierarchical fiscal institutions into egalitarian kind of horizontal structures, and they mediate the two. So they offer a really existing kind of juridical system, and then they mediate that so that you can have a more horizontal use of the money and still is fiscally legal, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a bridge from TB and TC or something like that.
Yeah. So I have the impression we should probably just solve the issue of the shipping first.
Yeah, if it becomes necessary, this seems like a good tool for that sort of thing.
So yeah, let's solve the.
But yeah, for the immediate thing, we can do it kind of ad hoc if necessary.
And then see about open. It's Open Collective, right?
Open Collective.
Yeah, .org, I think. Yeah.
.com.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so this pretty much covers, I mean, just so we don't run like to it. I know you guys probably are nostalgic for 3-hour meetings in your lives, but just in case you're not, just so we can move ahead a bit. I'll post all of, like, I'll just copy this into our Zulip thing and tag whoever's here. But I just added this other slide with projects that were, sorry, Aaron.
Just a question. Are we doing like a vaquinha for the, I lost this.
You know, I just added solve the shipping issue. I didn't add how. Probably we could, I think we should do a little cow. Like just pull the resources, see who can contribute with how much. But I think before we can even talk about this, I'll just email them and find out if the shipping goes up, if they send a bunch of them to the same place.
Yeah.
And also, if you can just ask about if
at worst we can
shipping
use our
costs are
pay.
constant,
Sorry,
depending where. If shipping costs are constant depending where it is, right? Like
okay.
To Europe, I would believe the 10 euros, but to US, it might be more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can definitely pay for it regardless.
Because yeah, so let's see. This way, I can be responsible to find out the kind of approximate total sum that we would have to spend, like some variations on that, and then we can decide what to do based on that, right?
Sure. Yeah.
We might end up using our payment to pay for like getting.
Nothing out of the usual. It's fine.
How like publishing works.
Business as usual, exactly.
Not the first, not the last time. So it's
yeah, I must say we already made more money than I made publishing, like with Northwestern Press. So we made more money with this than I made publishing 2 books. So I'm already, I feel like a success, right? Actually talking about income and things like projects in this way, these are kind of the ideas that are on the table right now. I mentioned this project, which I think is still very loose, but we were invited to write to Crisis and Critique for their September edition. Today we were contacted by some, like it was a very kind of simple message just asking if we have like bibliographical references, things they want to study between mathematics and philosophy and politics. But they also said that some people asked about our group, they might want to meet, they have a problem with the time zone and so on. But I mean, you can see that they want to continue talking and kind of creating something together in the future, right? So for example,
this book that they are suggesting is actually a book by, like, we could do something like a joint event, because this book is published by Triple Ampersand. It's by the
this one, right?
Logiciel.
Is this?
By Bavacavia,
yeah.
Logic.
Yeah, I mean, I think at least it shows that if, for example, we decide to come up with a seminar, not only I think like people from the some Brazilian groups who are studying similar things might want to join. We have friends who might want to participate, and definitely it seems like they would be interested in doing something as well. So just let that know. And then there is this online course that we haven't discussed yet, but Daniel might be joining in a next meeting. We could try to come up with a structure for this. It could possibly also serve as a source of income for the group. And definitely, I mean, the collective that he organizes is getting a lot of traction, a lot of people interested. And so probably it's something that would also help to promote what we've been doing.
In terms of format, like for the course, because we tried a lot of things. Like I've seen a lot of things tried at the new center, right? So like I think there was something that I found particularly cool that they did like in the last season, and I think it's a good model for seminars that cover like topics that are too wide in a way, which was that they had, because usually you have like the format is either you have one person teaching and then you have like someone doing assistance, but it's pretty much like narrowed like that. But if it's something like related to the diagram, like what these people did in like one of the seminars that it's ongoing, I don't know if it's working because like it's the second session, but it's happening at least. But like they were doing sort of like, you begin the first session with like a very brief like schematic thing about like the whole structure of like the question you're tackling, and then you go like you do each of the sessions have at least like 2 or 3 people that do a sort of a debate at the same time. And like I think it works really well for like topics that are too broad to like actually synthesize into something, and that like one person could not like cover, for instance. I mean, I'm assuming this is something more like related to the Atlas than related to something else, but I don't know that.
Yeah, but I mean, I can definitely see that you probably would be a really good idea for you to kind of help shape this thing, I think you by far have the most experience here with this sort of para-academic form. So, I mean, I don't know what we would like to do. If we want to do something like, probably one option would be for us to get together and try to see, okay, what share of what we've done seems to be kind of solid, and then just focus on this kind of kernel ideas that are more well established. We're just discussing the ideas for online courses. Rafael asked. So I think that's one way to go. The other is to kind of mirror a bit more how the Atlas worked and do kind of have separate topics, and then just have different people present. So I don't know. I think there are many different ways we could go about it. There's absolutely no restriction. He just said that there was he was open to host something like this. So I think everything it just requires us to come up with a structure, a reading list, an idea for how it could go, and then just send it to him. And I think that's pretty much it. Like no deadlines or anything.
You said that he was interested in joining the group.
Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna listen to this meeting afterwards if he has the patience for it. But yeah, he already asked me to send him the link. I think if he didn't join today, he might join next week already.
Yeah, and they have like, because you talked about events also like a while ago, and I was remembering like that. I think that format that you did, that like, which one was? I think it was like the reading group. I'm not sure if it was related to the Daniel Tut's group, but I think it was. Like that reading group on Karatani was really cool. Like the format of the event that had like Mackenzie work, and then it had also like Miriam's text, which was very good. And I think like that format is also really cool for like presenting something, like, because that is more of like a reading group sort of like for one specific text, but it could be something like to think like something similar to that would be really cool, like to end with guests also, like maybe perhaps external people that have like read the stuff. Anyway, I'm just rambling, but
yeah, but I definitely think like this deserves a meeting, even if it's not like a regular meeting, but just people who are interested. Again, it's a good Zulip topic, probably, right? To try to work this out. Actually, I just remembered that there's something missing here, which I was about to add. but I forgot what it was. Fuck. What is it that it's about to add here? Something else. Fuck it, I forgot.
There's
Yeah,
no
the-
mode E. Like
There's no mode E,
This is
yeah,
just
it's just A,
impossible.
B, C, D.
This is just impossible. Yeah.
Yeah, I just fuck. I just remembered something. What was it? Yeah, it will come to me. I forgot. It's just there's something we could do. Ah, yes, I remember now. Which is, I mean, 2 years ago. Actually, one of the things that started the STP again, like kickstarted it again, was that we had a reading group of Logics of Worlds. Everyone's reading it together, and then we kind of moved into, like, Yasha was there, Dennis was there, Karon was there, Hazel was there, and the English translation of Immanence of Truth is coming out in early March.
March, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's another thing. I mean, again,
Mhm.
Daniel Tutt said he would be interested in hosting this thing. Again, it could be something we can raise a bit of money doing it. But either case, it's something to consider if people want to, I mean, create a study group around it, like a reading thing. Just gonna add
I
it
think
here
there
because,
probably need to be another time slot, right?
yeah, I think it would have to be something separate, yeah.
Hmm.
But anyway, just to let people know, because I mean, Logics of World was a book that kind of helped push our current format. So probably makes sense to also consider doing something similar with the next one. But I mean, I'm sure that doesn't interest everyone. It's just something to consider, right? I think it's good to.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah, I
to-
wonder what the format of that would be, because I mean, for the last one, Logics of Worlds was already out for quite a bit at that point, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but nobody
like, had
read
some
it
time
anyway. So-
yeah. But at least that allows time to, like, you know, build up like more formal presentations and stuff. I don't know
Yeah,
if
true.
that will be
Perhaps
as
we
easy to
can.
do if it's on the first reading.
Yeah, perhaps we can let it like wait to the second semester and then see if there's anyone interested.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
not
maybe
mix
I
too many
order my
things.
copy.
Yeah. Just to conclude, I think I can do this like 15 minutes. This is this crazy thing that I was discussing with Dennis, and I told Rafael and Renzo about it as well. But it really would be cool to get everyone's opinion on it. I don't think it's like a concrete proposal, but it's just a very weird suggestion that I think it would be nice to see what you guys think about it. Which is, we came up with a weird kind of economical solution for a bunch of our problems. Which problems, you ask? It would be a solution to address these things here. So as the group grows, it's probably going to be hard, exactly as we were saying, it's hard to coordinate everyone's schedules and everyone's interests to keep a unified meeting schedule. So imagining the option, which we didn't take today, but let's say we did take the option of allow for multiple meetings to happen kind of simultaneously. So some people want to meet during the week to discuss this thing. Some people don't want to be in that meeting. They want to be in another meeting, right? So in that case, it would be nice to have a system for scheduling and checking how many people are attending each meeting, right? Second, the more diverse and the larger the group becomes, it's harder to guarantee that people are coming up with their own presentations with a concern for others. Like, I need to do this in a way that interests other people in the group, right? So it would be interesting to kind of build into the group's structure a motivation for people to try to present in a way that interests other people or considers other people's researches and so on. Then also, as the group grows, like having a diagram of presentations and then trying to see, you know, which strands were more invested in and things like this that we already did. They're not really good ways to extract information about where the research is going, things like this. And in the absence of any other way of doing it, usually you get like members who interpret what everyone is doing. Like I do this often, right? Like like summary of what we've been up to, things like this, right? But we could have a more systematic way of weighing on the themes and topics that people are more interested in at that moment, or that didactic ways of doing things that are interesting people and so on. Another thing is, as we were also talking about, how to bring new people into the project in a way that doesn't require them to kind of already check multiple kind of inclusion boxes. Like I feel like I already agree with somebody on this, therefore I should join. But they can actually test things in a slightly different way. So like, how can we have a bit more of a decentralized way of bringing people in that's not based on consensus so much? And finally, even though there's nothing wrong with people just more passively watching meetings, it would be interesting to have a way to reward people who want to form a stronger bond with the group, and to both like in terms of theory, where the research goes, and also like management wise, right? So Dennis and I had this weird idea, which I mean, would be to supplement the Zulip community we're creating and the website with a token, which is like a kind of like a currency, which would be called like a meeting point. Like you get meeting points, which would help us kind of find the curve of between what people want to present and how many people want to watch what people want to present, right? Kind of find the point where demand and supply meet. So the idea is very easy to present, very simple, though it's kind of embarrassing, because if there is something that is embarrassing is to propose anything that looks like a market. So this looks very close to the most liberal fantasy of the marketplace of ideas, but bear with me. Hopefully that's not what it is. So the idea is that everyone proposes themes for, like, imagine we have something like a bulletin board where you can add, like, promote the meeting you want to do. Like, guys, I want to do a meeting on Badiou's Immanence of Truths, right? And you add the date when you want to do it. It can be any date. It doesn't need to be a scheduled date. Of course, you know, because of habit, when are the time people are most available, but that wouldn't have to be that time. You can propose a random time that fits you, and like, you know, for other reasons, the time that also interests other people who care for the topic. And then other people book a seat at the presentation. How do they book a seat? They book a seat with a token that everyone would get, right? Let's say, so not going into how you get the token, but everyone has some of these points, and you can kind of vote for the meeting that you want to attend at the time that the person said they can present the meeting. Let's say I want to present Saturday night. Nobody books a seat at that meeting doesn't happen. But perhaps it does. Like, it's such a nice topic, people are willing that week to stay home and watch it, right? If we only have Monday meetings, that system would, like, only the most attended meeting would happen. Like, so we'd have 3 people bidding for that day. Like, I want to present something, the other wants to present something else. Well, the meeting that had most attendees would happen, right? The most bookings. But if we have multiple meetings, except multiple meetings happening in the same week, for example, you will just have a minimal attendance standard, like, requirement. So if at least 3 people booked a seat in your meeting, it happens, right? And then the kind of token that you, rather than considering it a vote, that vote has a minimal existence. That's what makes it into a kind of currency-like vote, because that token stays with the person who gave the presentation, right? So we would have 3 types of meetings. Actually 2 types, but just since regularly we have 3, it's good to show that we can treat 2 of those types as one. So regular presentations means I propose a meeting, people book a seat at that meeting. Then you can say, okay, but we have meetings that have no theme, like today, like a general discussion, right? Well, a participant can still think that's a good time to have like a general discussion or a meeting to do a review of previous research. That might be interesting, So people can still book a seat at that meeting, right? But there would be something we could call coordination meetings. Actually, today would be something like that, which are meetings where we're deciding like more management-like things. And those don't have a presenter. They're more like regular, or they're called by everyone. But they cost more to have a seat at than regular meetings. So either because you presented and got tokens from other people, or because of another mode of accumulating a bit of tokens, which is something I'm going to present in the next slide. Either way, let's say it's your participation in the current cycle of proposing meetings and attending meetings that qualifies you to be in the meeting where we coordinate things. But since the coordinating meeting doesn't have a presenter, when we put our tokens in it, we actually accumulate, like the STP itself has like a small fund, and we can use those tokens to buy tasks from people. So let's say now we have a bunch of tasks in that list we decided today. What we would do is to say like, okay, does anyone want to like update the website today? Or does anyone want to do like create the new streams on Zulip? And then if you do that, you get the token for that, right? But how is this not going to be like pure kind of moving the inequalities of status and facility that we already exist just into this sort of economic system? Is that there are two basic underlying structures, which is everyone who joins the STP gets a certain amount of these points. So let's say we have a cycle of 2 months. That's like a meeting a week. That's eight meetings. Everyone gets 8 of those tokens, right? At the end of a cycle, people who attended the minimal requirement of meetings, let's say 4, they will get 8 tokens again. So they spend 4 tokens, right? They bought seats in 4 meetings, but they didn't go to any other meeting. But 4 is the minimal requirement. So next meeting, they get next cycle, they get +8. So they can see all the new meetings again, right? Those who attended all the meetings, they get more than the minimal for the cycle. So they get to accumulate a bit. So I watched all the 8 meetings. For the next cycle, I don't get 8 tokens, I get 10. So that already facilitates that I will buy a seat in the coordinating meeting, right? And those who didn't attend even the minimal requirement, they just stay with the tokens that they have. They didn't spend that much, but they're not like increasing the amount of tokens they have, which then facilitates that they are present in every coordinating meeting. For example, somebody might not spend any token, not come to any meeting, and just go to the coordinating meeting. That's fine. But then they're probably not going to have tokens to do anything else, right? So in fact, no door is really closed to anyone. It just facilitates like the signaling of how participation correlates with other things in the group, right? And the idea is that to avoid the accumulation, so that people have a lot of tokens, and therefore they can pretty much book a seat everywhere, be in every meeting, and that's just it. You have a jubilee from time to time where we erase everything and everyone gets back to 0. So new people might end up accumulating more things and having a more central place in in this direction and things like this. The idea is not to take this like, it wouldn't be like a market where things get controlled by this autonomously. It's like a dynamic thing we would be borrowing from mode C, right? Which is to have to worry about what other people want to see, because that's how they're going to attend your meeting. So that's going to shape how you produce your meeting. To be able to use these tokens as signal and their distribution as a signal of the group's interest in a given moment, right? Not to forget that, okay, if this was like a currency that's attached to consumables, like basic things, you would make choices that kind of distort your preferences because you need to make certain things in order to live. Since this is not the case, it's more like a voting apparatus than like money, because it's not like, oh my God, I need to buy rice, otherwise I don't, you know, I won't survive. So if, for example, some people start having only their meetings are happening and people are not voting for other meetings, you could, if you think that's unfair, vote for that other meeting artificially, despite your own interests, for example, just because you want to redirect the group, right? But this kind of collective decision of how we invest our collective time, first, it multiplies because we can have multiple meetings. It's easier to, actually becomes easier to direct the research because you invest in the sort of things you want to see happen. People who are presenting becomes more subjected to consider what other people want to do. Otherwise, once they presented once, they won't get attendees for the next meeting, right? And if it doesn't work, or if it produces weird abnormal effects, we can just override it. Like it's TC under something else. So one day somebody says on Zulip, guys, I think something unfair is happening. And we just override the whole thing and say, fuck it, this thing is not working. Let's move coins around arbitrarily because it's more just. And that's just it. So we shouldn't assume that just because it looks like value, smells like value, and looks like, you know, a market, that it will behave as such, because we can definitely constrain it just with our decision making. So the idea is that it's actually simple, like the implementation wouldn't be that complicated. We need like a place to offer meetings where we summarize what we want to present, how long it's going to be, what people need to read, and when it's going to happen. A mechanism to vote, right, to book a seat on these ads, in a way to keep track of how the tokens circulate. As, okay, I book a seat, I lose a token, the guy gains one, right? Ultimately, you can imagine that this substitutes any sort of immediate need of consensus for people to join the group. Let's say somebody who hates all of us goes into this bulletin board, proposes a meeting, and lo and behold, we all want to see what he's presenting. We don't know who, you know, like that's this guy we hate. So suddenly the guy is starting to, like, he gets a chance at directing the group despite of people's personal, you know, affinities with them. It's ridiculous idea. I don't think that we have, like, we're not facing problems right now where this is like a necessary solution or anything like this. But I do think it's nice to realize this thing here. Like, how can you guys not be charmed by the fact that Zulip is like a mode A thing, the website's like our centralized mode B, and this is like, you know, our mode C attempt at something that's all kind of, so yeah. But that's my pitch in 15 minutes.
It's
For
nice
a
that
very great idea.
It's
It's nice
interesting because, like, as a sales pitch, this works extremely well with only this group of people. If anyone else sees it,
Yeah.
like, there is a very there's a very good, like, public restriction, you know, like, it's either these people or no one at all.
No
Like,
one at all, exactly. Which is, I mean, the mark of true, something that has the chance of being universal, you know. But yeah, I mean,
yes.
people. I think that the first impression is very bad. Like, why would I trust something that looks like a currency that people will have more or less of? But for example, just realize the following. If at the end of a cycle, I have very few coins, that means something very good. It means I attended a lot of meetings. And it means that once the cycle is over, I'm going to get more coins than someone else. So not having many coins doesn't mean the same thing as not having a lot of money.
The more you spend, the more you get.
Yeah, to begin with, it's like that, right? Second, you're guaranteed to have access to every meeting if you want to book a seat, right? If you don't, you're just gonna accumulate. Like, it's interesting to simulate in your head what happens if you're totally disinterested in the group. Like if you're totally disinterested, you have like 8 tokens that you never spend, which means you're eternally a member, right? At any moment you could say, okay, now I want to go to a meeting. Finally, I want to book a seat, right? So it's actually very hard to lose all your tokens and not get new tokens. Like it's a very specific situation where you're actually kicked out, kind of provisorily, but like you could come back, but still you would have to see some meetings very slowly, always below the requirement of that cycle, spending your 8 tokens this way. So it's only if you have a very dilettante interest in and are not concerned at all with maintaining your position in the group that you would be kind of stuck of not being able to have a seat at a meeting. Otherwise, if you don't do anything, you get 8 coins. At the end of the cycle, you don't get any more coins, but you still have 8, right? I even realized now that there's a bit of a problem. Like, I think that the minimal requirement would, for example, just in this sort of simple example, would have to be like 6 meetings rather than 4, because otherwise I spend 4 and I gain 8. That gives me 12. Whereas let's say I saw 8 and I get 10, I also get 12, right? But I also only have 10, in fact. Like I have less than the person who saw less meetings in me. So there's fine tuning to do in this. What does it mean to have coordination meetings cost more? It's not very obvious as well how this should be done. It can be like a very minimal added cost in the sense like it's 2 meeting points rather than 1 to book a seat, like simple. Doesn't need to be something that is like strongly hierarchical and restricted. But I think that if you have these small differences and you plot it over time, you will see that it tends to benefit in a kind of mild way people's engagement with the group, right? And what do you spend your Lucrece? What do you spend your accumulated points? The only thing you have to spend it on is either book seats like everyone or give them to the coordination meeting. But the coordination meeting is not another presenter, it's the whole group, which means just having more tokens to ask people to accomplish tasks and things like this, right? So it's not really like you accumulate power for yourself or something like this. But it's crazy. It's definitely a crazy idea. So
I worry about keeping track. Like this is one of the, because like I don't know, is there? It's probably there is, like probably someone will just throw a website. But like, is there like a platform in which we can do this in a sort of an easy way? Because like my narrow mind can only think about this becoming like the absolutely most insane spreadsheet, like to be updated every week or something like that, because it will be like in one place, things will be scheduled like the bulletin board, and like in the other, like it would be like a full track of everything. So like, I don't know, is there like a way like, something existing that we can use to make that, or should that be something like?
I have no idea. I just wanted to suggest this crazy idea to you guys, not as something like, let's do this, just so it's like in the air, so we can come up with like problems doing this, like what about that situation, and show that it's not a good idea, right? Let's say we conclude it's an okay idea. Then I think we should just, if that's the case, we should just come up with like a test run where we're just doing our best to keep scores. Like just fucking paste a piece of paper next to your computer with a number and you risk it with another one, and that's just it for like 2 months or 4 months, you know? And then if that works, then we can try kind of implementing it in a more formal way. It seems like it ultimately is just a really stupid way of matching people who want to present with people who want to watch, right? With the provisory idea that there could be a type of presentation that is not exactly fitting that, which is with the coordinator. Other than that, it's a very simple kind of doodling kind of thing, but where the theme and the schedule is arbitrary, and you say, okay, I really want to see Yasha's new presentation. I know he cannot do it on Monday, but I'm willing to see it on Thursday. And some other people say, yeah, I'm also willing, right? It's a bit different, for example, from what CPC does with, here in Brazil, we have a really cool group that has like different subgroups with different research. Like you multiply the study centers, right? But that's not really generative in the sense that you're not gonna learn about where the interest is from the flow of attendance that much. Like you can intuit something like it, but it's not exactly the same sort of craziness. I think it's much more sober. So John asked if we could book a seat for someone. I think no, right? I think yeah, there's a big issue here now that John said this, which is, I think perhaps the first issue, which is, doesn't this imply that meetings are scarce to begin with, right? Meaning they're not open. So probably this would mean something like, if you want to be in the Zoom call, you need to book a seat in the Zoom meeting. If you want to watch the meeting, it's public once it's recorded, right? And then you can, let's say, if you didn't go to the meeting and you want to participate and you are in the group, what does that mean? You watch it on YouTube and comment on Zulip. That's a perfectly possible position, right? If you are somebody who's not in the group and you want to come to a meeting, well, if you just join us, which in practice means do your newcomer presentation, join Zulip, you will get 8 tokens, and now you have the means to buy a seat yourself, right? But I think the specific idea of I want to spend my token to get, yeah, perhaps, why not? I don't know. Perhaps, yes, you want to invite other people and you buy them a seat. Yeah. No.
If it's someone from the outside, I mean,
yeah, it's another use for the token, right? To invite people you personally want to bring in, regardless of if other people are in agreement, right?
Yeah, the only one thing that I'm not sure exactly how it would work is the spending the tokens to like help organizational efforts, or like to, I guess, like pay people for certain tasks. I just don't know how to necessarily motivate that, you know, like real money, you can buy shit with it. I guess here we can just,
but for example, take the
I don't know if that's motivating.
Yeah, but take the extreme case where, like, I'm not seeing the minimal requirement of meetings. I have very few tokens, so I'm not going to be able to buy seats in the next meetings or something like that. Well, if I'm not, or for example, if I want to increase the amount of tokens I have, but I don't want to present, it creates a sort of exchange between presentation or helping out with a website, emails and shit, right? But I agree with you. I mean, ultimately, all of this is it's not meant to be a system that imposes a compulsion to work, right? Like I want the prize so much that I get with the token that I'm gonna do whatever. Like it only works because it's a small group. Like even if it had 100 people, it still would be small, right? It's a small group of people who agree on a basic framework, who have an overriding mechanism if special cases come up. We have like justice. Athena can intervene and say the token is not valid in this case, right? This person should be in that meeting even though they don't have tokens. Like, could be overridden at every moment. I think that's there are many conditions that make this work. Like, I don't think we need to worry very much about smart asses who want to manipulate the system or you know, motivation. Well, if you're motivated to participate, this is not gonna motivate you to be in the group if you're not motivated already, but it might channel motivation in a like signal things about motivation in a different way.
I think it also anticipates a time when we are having so many members that getting a full agreement on everything is not really feasible anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like right now, we probably don't need this as much because we just have a meeting and everyone says, okay, I'm for this or I'm against this. And we just decide like now. But down the line, maybe we have disagreements that can't be completely settled because there's so many people. Then maybe this meeting points can be an alternate form of settling things.
Yeah, I think that the best way to imagine this is to imagine that, let's say, at the bottom, below it and above it, there are communal mechanisms. Like, this makes no sense if this is the main synthetic form. Then we are in the world of marketplace of ideas, may the best idea win. Like, for example, if we have a really famous person in the group, of course, everyone's gonna watch their meetings. They're gonna accumulate all the tokens. Like, that's like letting, you know, exchange forms rule everything. But we have a common forum at the bottom, a common project, and we have on top, let's say, the common agreement that anyone at any time can call bullshit on the dynamic. It's meant to work in favor of something else, right? So it's not the same thing as a market in the general sense because of that, right? So because you have more horizontal mechanisms on top and below, but then you're benefiting for very specific things, which is, again, imagine you have 100 people. Or, for example, you want somebody who you know wants to join, but nobody else knows the person. It's hard to like get in touch with everyone. Suddenly, let's say you have an impersonal entry door into a dynamic, right? Look, propose a meeting, you know, let's see if people want to see, like, the answer to the question, what I'm doing has something to do with the STP, is no longer answered because you privately think it has or it doesn't. It's more socially answered by if people want to book a seat in that meeting or not. They might want to book a seat because they don't want the new guy to be alone. They might book a seating because they think somebody else is getting too much attention. But whatever it is, that sort of consensus becomes properly decentralized, which is the thing that makes liberals ejaculate over the market. We get the market porn, you know, without all the problems of it. But it's totally crazy. I totally agree. I think that, like, since we came up with this idea, like, I go to sleep, suddenly I wake up and say, fuck, I totally sold out. Now I'm like on the Elon Musk side, not the good side. Like, I should kill myself. So I oscillate a lot. It might be a very terrible idea, but I don't know. I think we should.
Yeah, like I like the way which it is, like the way of measuring interest, because this has been like a question I have discussed. Like, for instance, these days I was like talking with Renzo about like an idea for something that I wanted to present, and I'm like, do you think this is a good idea? Like, and like, you know, just rethink some stuff to see if it would work. And this is a way to actually like sort of automate that process into everything that is done. So like, in that sense, I think it really works in a way. And like, it sort of like gives you a feedback about that type of content that you are like trying to produce. Of course, it's a very limited feedback. So also, like, you might as well continue to like ask people, like, and even like trim whatever you're doing better. But it's something, you know, like,
yeah. And honestly, you'd be very stupid to say, imagine you're in a black box and you're like, I proposed this meeting, nobody wanted it, and just from that signal, you're gonna decide what you're gonna do next. Like, don't be an idiot. Like, talk to people, probably find out what happened. Probably, you know, like, you have many other signals going on. It's not about reducing all information just to the token, but adding a new dimension, you know, which is hard to get otherwise. So again, I think that sort of universalization that makes, you know, money into money, I think it's missing here. It's
I'm thinking if it would, because it seems to me that like it sort of has to, like, the token part really has to be weaved into something like it, because as an experiment, it looks like an all or nothing thing, you know, like in the sense that like you either we do and like we circulate the tokens like for all the things, or we don't circulate the tokens at all. And like I was thinking if perhaps there's not a way to do this, like to first test the tokens with like organizational tasks and then go to the actual sort of like, not scarcity, because there's not really a scarcity, but like
it wouldn't be necessarily a scarcity.
Yeah, but the part of actually attributing it to the meetings. But now that like I understand that this signal part, it would be very good for the meetings actually.
Yeah, I would even try the inverse, like just leave it for regular meetings first. Forget this thing about coordinating meetings, like they are available for everyone as always, but just for the regular meetings, no tasks or anything, and just try that. Or
Like
even
the regular
something else.
meetings,
Yeah.
you mean the court, like these meetings, like the
Yeah, those would be
like-
open like always, but then, you know,
uh-huh.
this sort of having a seat in the Zoom meeting for regular presentations or giving presentations, those things are coordinated in this way and opened
Yeah.
to parallel things to happen in different weekdays. So it would be strictly a way of kind of finding the intersection between meetings people want to present and people who want to attend that meeting. And if it fits a minimal requirement, it happens. It's like again, it would be kind of a relative doodle, right? There's not a doodle for everyone, for everything. Something like that. Like
It got me thinking, like, what happens once you lift this sort of like market out of this condition of you have it being like attached to this need of to work, to this constraint of like you have this scarcity and you have to work to like exist. So the first time I read it, I thought you sort of built in this scarcity in which person would be sort of like have this incentive to work
based on lagging behind, right?
Yeah, on lagging behind. So once you lift that up with the base, you have this income that you're always able, and the Jubilee. It's funny, like what's left out of this, like what does the market does once it doesn't have any more these constraints. And I think it starts to become this communication system that it's quite similar to like what voting does, right? So
it's more like a voting than anything.
The voting, and it seems to like you have like this collapse of economy and politics where you have votes, but you have finite votes. So you sort of like circulate finite votes. So you have both like the circulation part of economy and the decision making of politics. So I think it reminds me. I think we discussed that a bit, like on the Tech Talk thing of having the tasks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I always think this in terms of how Reddit works. I think it's like great how you like people post stuff and you see what people like upvoted, and so there's this correlation between interest and visibility, and then you would just the fact that it's finite amounts of upvotes you would be able to give. Like there's actual time and work that will be put on this thing, so it makes sense that this kind of voting is that's the only scarcity like you want to implement in the city. Like it's not a scarcity of necessarily access to a different meeting that could also be part of it, but that's a different thing. And it's not also the kind of constraint of having to work, of like putting people to work. It's a different kind of constraint and a different kind of scarcity based on this sort of like voting circulation of like you sort of start to under this impersonal way of signaling interest within like a group, right?
Yeah, I think that's more of it. Like the thing that works similar to this that I know of is this closed group that my wife presented to me called Cara Garga, where people like you have a rate that allows you to download these very cult obscure movies, but you spend your rating as you download, and you need to upload like subtitles or new movies or wait for a time until that there is a kind of a Jubilee and you get a better rating again to be able to continue downloading. So you cannot totally leech off the website. They get you to participate, but they're very careful in how much they're asking. They're not asking you to work for them so you get movies. It's a fine tuning where you get the minimal, it always works. You can have a regular experience. I think that this is a good way of putting it. Like the tokens here, they are measuring the move from user to participant. They're not measuring, they're not deciding whether you're in or out, or if you are lagging behind.
A proletariat.
Yeah, exactly. It's more about like, it's a currency for platonic participation. Like if you acquire a lot of tokens, that means that you are very much engaged. Like if I ask the question, who is directing this research? You're very much implicated in that question. People who are not engaging very much, they're not that implicated. Like I'm being kind of dragged by the thing. That's the thing that is really being measured, right? Yes, exactly. Finally, the correct type of token to the marketplace of ideas in the Platonic sense. Yeah, the marketplace of Platonic ideas needs Platonic participation. Yeah, I was aiming at Rafael this one, like idea.
Yeah.
So
everyone gets to be a philosopher king.
Exactly, like rather than a philosopher king, you can be a philosopher shareholder.
Exactly. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. This sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like there are similar things, you know, like again, as Renzo said, like where the communication aspect is the thing that is like on the forefront, because it already presupposes shared interest. Like you're not like on math overflow because you're working for it. Like you already share something, you already like it, you want to be there, but there are other metrics involved in how active you are, right? And you can still have some basic reward system on top of that is not really like separating people based on you deserve, you don't deserve to be here, things like that. So I don't know, I think it's a weird idea, though I think like, especially with this obscure accelerationist, Bitcoin crazy leftist, we would be like, they would think we are really cool. So there's that as well. It might attract like weird attention. Yes, I like the idea. You can also buy emojis. Like,
Oh no. Oh no, how fast is this going to become like a microtransaction hellscape?
Yeah, we can have like NFTs for nice slide pages, you know.
I would buy those.
Yeah, I would. So
I'll pay someone to advertise my presentation.
Yeah, in 3 months the group is looking like Succession, you know, like we're just be
as long
convening with the shareholders, pulling the candle and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's like the weird proposal I had to suggest, just to kind of get you guys trying to find problems with it and see if we can come up with a viable idea. Like I can also try to do like, or Dennis, we could talk about it and like try to present something a bit more kind of step by step, and perhaps add a bit of a simulation to it and present it in the group later on so more people can engage. But it definitely is not something we need right now in any sense, right? I just think is at least a mock solution to a problem I think we're gonna have to face a bit more in the future, where, you know, things that we were talking about today, like, what about, you know, parallel meetings that we schedule to Zulip? Like they're not being recorded, but they're happening in parallel. Or how about alternative days for meetings? Like those things are gonna become real problems, I think. If we do engage this year with promotion, online courses, inviting people, like at some point, it's not unlikely we'll have like 40, 50 people on Zulip, and then what, you know? So it's at least something to start thinking about. Either way, like I'm just gonna get that first page with all the decisions we made, and I'm gonna paste it on Zulip and on WhatsApp so we can start working on it.
Cool, yeah. I'm glad we're finally getting more things in the Zulip so we can actually.
Yeah, no, I think it's. I downloaded the app for
expand it out.
It really works well also on the cell phone. Okay, guys.
Okay, cool. Well, it's the beginning of a plan.
It's a beginning. We're planning to have a plan. Yeah,
exactly.
Great. I'll email some
Cool.
today and find out about the shipping costs so we can marvel at our own writing.
Cool. Let us know.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Take care.
Bye.
Good meeting. Bye, everyone.